Hi, let us understand the purpose of the verb volume. Before that, we need to have a quick understanding on the read layer as well as the read and write layer getting created within a container. Whenever I am creating an image, it's built with n number of layers and each layer can have n number of custom files. Using that particular image, I may create n number of containers. Within containers, I may modify the files existing within the layers. So what happens, since the layers are read only, it creates a thin read and write layers. On top of it, it is going to create the updated files. And this particular file is going to supersede or override the files existing within the layers. And everything will be working as long as the container is up and running. And when the container is getting deleted, the thin read and write layers will also get deleted and the data will not get persisted. And this might create problems as we are going to use the containers for microservices and other auto-scaling deployments where n number of containers will keep getting created as well as getting deleted. So I don't want the data that is getting written into the read and write layer to get deleted when the container is getting deleted. That's where we are going to use the volumes. So any files that I want that to get persisted, I will have that as a part of volumes. And I can decide whether the volume should get deleted along with the container or it should get persisted. So let's see a quick demo. Let me go ahead and create a folder for this demo. Let me get into the folder. Let me create a test file named file copy test.txt. So I do have this particular file. Now I am going to create a Docker file. Let me use the parent image as Alpine. And I'm going to copy this file, test file that we created into the image within the folder volume_test. I'm going to mount this particular volume_test as a part of the volume. So what happens, a separate volume will get created and that volume will be mounted against this particular folder volume_test. Let me change the work directory and add shell command so that I can log into the container created using these images. Now I do have the Docker file. Let me check the volumes available now. I don't have any volumes. Let me go ahead and build this particular image. Docker image build. Let me tag it as volume_test :1.0 and the file to be used for Docker build is volume_test and the Docker file is available in the current directory. The image build is successful. Let me check the list of images available. So this is the image that got created, volume_test. I can go ahead and do the inspection with the tag 1.0. Here I will have the information on for volumes. I do have the volume_test getting added as a volume and it will have a volume ID as well. Let me go ahead and list the volumes available. There is no volume. Now I am going to create a container with the image that we created now and that will create a volume. Let me go ahead and create a container. So I'm creating a container with the name cntr_volume_test. This is the image name that I am using. So the container got created. Now I can log into another shell and check the volumes available. So a volume with this particular ID got created and I can inspect this particular container as well. Docker container inspect and then the container name. It should have the information about this particular volume. So this is the volume, this is the volume name, the random number that got created and that is going to get mapped against volume_test within the container. Now if I exit out of this particular container, the volume will continue to exist. The reason because I did not run the container with --rm. Let me list the volumes available. Yes, it is. Now let me go ahead and create another container where I'm going to use the flag --rm. So what happens, whenever I exit this particular container, the volume will also get deleted. So if you're using a volume as a part of the image, be very careful whether to use this particular flag or not. And especially in production, generally we don't use this flag --rm. Let me go ahead and list the volumes available. Yes, a new volume got created with this particular ID E1C. Now let me exit out of this particular container. So what happens? automatically the resources, containers, everything will get deleted. Now let me check the volumes available. The new volume that was created along with the container, that is also deleted. So what that means is I can go ahead and create a volume as a part of the container and map it to any folder, and any data that is created within the volume that will get persisted, and later I can mount it to any new container that is getting created, or I can persist or move the data to another container as well. This will be very useful, especially when we are going for the auto scaling or deployment of the microservices.